So we've known each other a while now.
Yeah.
And you've been a foster carer before.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what fostering was like for you?
Okay, so myself and Ivan, we fostered together. We fostered mainly teenage boys, and I feel like what we kind of got out of it and the children was because their behaviours were extreme at times, I thought that myself and Ivan were like their moral guide. So it was like stuff that they'd not been taught, or they didn't have boundaries for whatever reason. Yeah, and so I'd do things like, I thought it was quite important to do a Sunday dinner every week. My mum and dad came, and then kind of not over the top parties galore, but every time there was a family party, like I'm close to my sister, you know, the children would be involved, and
So what would you say to somebody out there who's thinking about fostering and they're maybe not sure?
So I'd say, if you're thinking about it, do it, because it is really rewarding, and you see the children, whatever age, if you're consistent and you give them like love and attention, it hasn't got to be massive amounts. You know, it's just really fulfilling to do.
And there might be people watching this who are worried about the sort of child they're going to be matched with and have in their home. Can you tell me or tell them anything to reassure them about that?
Okay, so with regards from working for Apex.
Yeah, how do we make sure our children are a good fit for our carers?
Okay, so first of all, the carers, they let us know what type of children they think will fit in with their families. Also, so we do match really carefully, and also there's no commission, so I match children with families, and I don't get commission for that, so it's not like I'm trying to force or hard sell. It's exactly what you want. If you're not sure of behaviours, and you know, you're not obligated to take any child or siblings that you just feel you're not comfortable with.
And thinking about some of our carers, can you remember any of the concerns that some of them might have had?
What, before taking a child?
Yeah.
Okay, so some of the concerns are, I think, mainly if there's behaviours, and some of the behaviours are really manageable. If they've got younger children, how that will impact on their own family. If you've not got any children living at home, you know, that could be an advantage, because you'd be more happy and willing to, you know, there's no dynamics of your own family that you've got to think about. But having said that, a child can be matched to your family, and it works really well. So everybody gets on, and it's lovely.
Okay. Can you tell me a bit about how matching at Apex is different perhaps to other agencies?
Well, yeah, because I think mainly because the carers give us an idea of what type of child they want, and we do not, you know, if somebody wants 5 to 10-year-old, that is what we'll look for. If a carer specifically wants a baby, that is what we'll match them to. Other carers might specialise in parent and child, so that is what we look for. Sibling groups, some carers want sibling groups, all under 5 years old, and that is what we'll look for, and you know, and that is what, you know, we'll explore with the carer.
Yeah, and do we share the information? Because I think people might be a little bit worried that people aren't always giving us all the information about the children. What do we do at Apex to make sure that that's the case?
Okay, so first of all, as placing the children, My job is to read the referral, share the referral with the carer, and then discuss it. The supporting social worker will look at that referral, and so long as the information that we've got, we can only go by that. If it's accurate, then it's going to be a good match. But the supporting social worker will also have a discussion with the social worker of the children, just to make sure there's nothing that wasn't in the referral. Also, you might get the opportunity to meet the children, meet the carers that the children are staying with currently, so you can get a better idea of what the children are really like and if they're going to be suitable.
Yeah. So it sounds like a lot of emphasis is spent on trying to find out what the children's behaviours are and making sure that we know everything.
Yeah, because I think, I mean, myself as a carer, it is quite daunting to think, oh, what is this child going to be like? At the end of the day, they're just children, and you know, it's how you manage the child, and then it can work. Then, and that's just as simple as that, really. But at Apex, or part of my job, I just think it's awesome how the carers they're not ever made to feel you've got to take this child. Whereas in previous agencies I worked for, I did feel like that. The placement team did make you feel like that a bit.
Yeah.
You can say no as many times as you want.
So did you feel like maybe with some of the agencies you used to work in, money was more important than careful matching?
100%. Even to the extent that we were offered a teenage boy that was in boarding school. So he'd be at school Monday to Friday, and when I kind of looked, the child wouldn't have been a match for the current children we had in placement and for our family. And the attitude of the placing team was, you can get in the full week's money for only doing 2 days. I said, no. The 2 days that they're with us, they've got to match. Yeah. So I did get a lot of the time, and I did with other agencies, I was made to feel, I've said no quite a lot. Should we start to say yes? And that's how you feel, but not, I don't think any of our carers feel like that, because I reinforce all the time, it's your choice. Yeah.
And I don't think people realise, unless you're doing this job, which I've done as well, on a full-time basis, just how harrowing it is reading the children's referrals, like hour after hour. What do you do to kind of manage the stress of that?
What, reading the referrals?
Yeah.
So, there's always positives in the child. Of course there is, because there's a lot of positives in children. So that will always come kind of at the top of the referral. As you read through the referral, I'll kind of pick out behaviours. If children have got ASD, ADHD.
What's ASD, Jo?
ASD is autistic spectrum disorder. So a child might be on the what they call the spectrum. So, and that spectrum can be really, it can be non-verbal, it can be non-communicative, or they just need maybe some medication or routine, structure, boundaries. So I'll pick out, I'll bullet point stuff that I think is really, really relevant to the carer. So,
And there are 2 areas often that we have to negotiate on, and that's contact and schools. Can you tell me, in terms of contact with birth parents, what we do to get everything sorted before the children move?
Okay, so some children, they might have a higher level of contact until the local authority gets the full care order, and then the contact reduces. But it is really important to the children, if the contact is 3 times a week, that they actually, because they're they're obviously scared or frightened. They don't know what's going on. They don't know why they're in care. That they do see their birth family for whatever reason, and carers do need to support that. As a placing, trying to place the children, I do often ask if the contact can be brought closer to the carer.
Yeah.
And lots of local authorities will kind of honour that. So, and with regard to schools, so some local authorities, until they get the full care order, they taxi the children to school. Once they've settled in placement, then the school can be changed. So that's all good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
And can you tell me, just in your own words, why you like working for Apex?
Oh, yeah, there's lots of reasons. So I've been with Apex just by chance for a couple of years, and I've been put into a role that I really am passionate about doing, because having been a foster carer and having not always had a good experience with having the children placed, now I'm in a position to, try to really match children that want to be placed with really lovely carers, and all of the carers are brilliant. They're all lovely. Their heart's in the right place. They're all doing a fantastic job. And yeah, this is why I like the job. And obviously, Sali, that I work for, she's a brilliant boss, and she's fantastic with the carers and the children. Knowing every child by name, visiting the children. Some agencies, you would, I say some, I worked for one originally, but they wouldn't know what child was even placed with you. So when they were we took single placements, we took 3 individual placements and not siblings, so they wouldn't know the history of the children that were placed when they wanted to place another child, and they wouldn't understand why that wouldn't be a match. So, yeah.
And we share all of the information we have about the children with the carers, don't we?
Yeah, you get every bit of information that we've got, the carers will have.
Yeah.
There's no hidden agendas with anything about the children.
Yeah. And do you think this quite detailed process is part of the reason why our placement breakdown rate is so low?
Definitely, because as I say, in my previous agency that I was actually a foster carer, the number, not from myself, but the number of out of hours calls, because children, the carers, children, they can't cope with their behaviour, but because the matching is so thorough with Apex, there doesn't ever seem to be those kind of problems.
Okay. Yeah, so a placement breakdown is when a child is placed in a home with foster carers, and for whatever reason that home breaks down. Let's say we do place a child in a home and our placement breakdown rate is very low. What happens if it's not a good fit, or there are behaviours that the carer didn't know about that mean we're just not able to continue to provide the child with a home?
Okay, so the carer would contact the SSW, their supporting social worker. They would call Sali, usually. What we would then do is offer support to the carer. So that support might be additional hours to support the child in the placement. If that is not something that the carer wants to explore or wants to happen, we would on their behalf give 28 days notice to the local authority, and then the local authority would find an alternate carer for the child.
So Jo, your job title is a family finding officer, and not placements manager. Can you explain why we made that decision?
Yeah, because I think family finding is a better way of kind of matching a child with a family instead of placements officer. It sounds like, a placement. It doesn't it doesn't give it like a warm family feel to be in a, you're placing, what are you placing? But family finding, you're finding a family for the child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Jo, 3 words to describe working for Apex, please.
Family orientated, compassion,
Yeah.
and commitment.
Thank you. What's your favourite thing to do when you're not at work?
Oh, obviously, be with the horse, not just ride, be with the horse, yeah.
Not spend time with your partner then?
Oh, sorry, oh, poor Ivan. Oh, I love it. We've just been away at the weekend, yeah, so that was good.
You've had enough time with him then.
Yeah.
And you have 2 daughters, am I right?
One.
One?
Yeah.
I've just given you an extra daughter, sorry about that.
It's all right.
And yeah, she's been part of the fostering household, isn't she?
Yeah, she was brilliant. Yeah.
Good. So anybody out there who's like, oh, I don't know whether to foster because I've got kids and the impact on them, what would you say to them?
There's not a big impact. I mean, I chose to foster when my daughter was about 10. So, but it doesn't matter what age. You can, it's manageable.
Would you say, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but would you say she's a better person for having grown up in a fostering household?
Yeah, because she's balanced. She knows what it's like to be in a house where children are not growing up with their own parents, and how lucky she is to have her own parents.
It's been lovely talking to you, and long may you carry on working for us.
Thank you.